want to share a story time with you guys. She was saying, "Ooh, big baby, tall baby." Like, hello, the baby's parents are not exactly small, so I wasn't expecting any different. By the time they were inserting that bulb, in my mind I was already like, whatever happens from here on out, at the end of the day, I'm going to have my baby with me. I recommend you get a C-section given the situation. I was like, yeah, do it. That's what I would like to do. Things are going this way, so everything just went from this way to that way. There was no time for you to prepare yourself or to walk up with it. She made 3 good attempts, like poked my back 3 good times, and she couldn't get the thing to work. All right, so if you're ready like I am, let's get into it. Getting into this glow. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hi, you're welcome. If you're new, please welcome. My name is Chinenye, and here I share videos about itty-bitties of my life in Canada and the things I get up to. Please consider subscribing and leave me a comment. Also watch to the end of this video and give it a big thumbs. Yeah, so just like the title says, today I want to share the story time of my birth and also tell you guys why I got induced. Like I said in the vlog before this video, if you haven't seen that, please, the link should be somewhere up here. Click on it and watch it. I said I was going to talk about that in a separate video because I mean it's a long story. So that's what I want to do today, and also explain other things that happened which were not very clear from the vlog to you guys. So if you're ready like I am, let's get into it. I think this just goes as far back as when I was 35 weeks pregnant. One of the ultrasounds that you do when pregnant is called a growth scan. So when I did that ultrasound, the voice of the medical staff that did the ultrasound for me is still ringing in my head right now, where she was saying, "Ooh, big baby, tall baby." Like, those were just her phrase. So when she said those, I mean, I didn't take it as anything because, hello, the baby's parents are not exactly small, so I wasn't expecting any different. But yeah, she said that, and after the ultrasound, I had an appointment with my midwife to discuss the whole result, and after that, like, they fixed another ultrasound for me. Maybe they wanted to double check or something. So from that ultrasound, my baby was measuring like 3 weeks ahead. So that was like at 35 weeks, but my baby was measuring 38 weeks ish. I met with my midwife and we talked it through. They booked an appointment with an OB for me just to, you know, look over things with an obstetrician and see what they had to say. So yeah, on that day, I think I posted a vlog about that. It's in one of my vlogs. I will probably link it somewhere up here as well. So on the day of the appointment, I went, I was you know, I did another ultrasound, and I went in to discuss with the OB about the results. OB also went ahead to like kind of double confirm what the other lady said during the 35 week scan. You know, this was now happening in 38 weeks. So the OB was like, my baby was measuring around 8.5 pounds to 9.5 pounds. In summary, basically his verdicts were like, 1, I recommend you get a C-section because this is a really big baby. Out of all the options he gave, the only one that seemed like what I would want to go with was the option of getting induced. I understand, like he said, it was still possible that it could end in a cesarean section, but I didn't just want to opt for a surgery because honestly, cesarean section is still a major surgery. If I was ever having a cesarean birth, I want that to be a decision I make at the beginning of the pregnancy, not like 38 weeks. So I decided that I would go with the induction. When I got home that day, me and my husband, we also talked it over, and that also seemed like just the best feasible option. When I told the doctor I would likely go for the induction, he was like, so we need to go ahead and fix it. 5 days from that particular day, we should get that fixed and, you know, come in and do it. So the next day, I had an appointment with my midwife. And then my midwives, as at then, they hadn't gotten the results from the doctor. It hadn't been sent over. So I just told them verbally what the doctor discussed with me, what was said, and what his recommendations were. They were like, okay, if that's what it is, then maybe we should go ahead and book you. So I was then booked for the following Tuesday, or no, the following Wednesday, to come in for the induction, meaning from Tuesday I would go and get that Foley bulb inserted. Between that day and the day it was supposed to be, they eventually got the report sent to them from the doctor, and from that report the doctor was now highly recommending that I get a cesarean section because of, according to him, the baby is really on the big side. In fact, that day he kind of messed with my mood. I think I was filming my what's in your hospital bag video. I have that video posted. I will also link it up here. If you haven't seen it, go check it out, because somewhere in between that filming I got the call from my midwife, and then they were like, okay, so this is what the doctor said, so it's looking more like it could be a cesarean section, or what do you still want to do even with that information? So I told my midwife, you know what, I think I want to stick with the induction. The lead midwife, she was also like, yeah, I think you can birth this child. I mean, the child has the genetics of the parents. It's well expected that the child would be looking more like us size-wise. That kind of strengthened my, my faith in going ahead with the induction. But because of that, they now had to move the induction a day ahead. So it was now moved to start on a Tuesday. The Monday before that Tuesday was when I went to get the bulb inserted. So yeah, that is how we went from, me having the mental note of, oh, you're going to just have a vaginal birth when the baby is ready to come out, to, oh, you're getting induced and you just have to get it done ASAP. The bulb was inserted. I was actually told that I should plan myself for a 3-day stay in the hospital. Of course, it's my first child, so labor could be long. By the time they were inserting that bulb, in my mind I was already like, whatever happens from here on out, the important thing is at the end of the day, I'm going to have my baby with me. I'm going to go into the hospital and go home with my baby. That's just what I kept on telling myself, because the situation was no longer within my control. Not like it was totally within my control before, but I had some sort of control, like working with what I had in my head, but everything just flipped. The next day after that was inserted, I went to the hospital, like you guys would have seen on the vlog. I got checked in, I got my room, and it was time to just get things started. While we were leaving to the hospital, I took my food. I made plantain and egg that morning, but I couldn't eat it. I just took it to the hospital. Eventually, when we got there, before we started with the whole antibiotics and then pitocin, my midwife actually asked again, so Chinenye, is this what you want to do? Is this the option you'd like to use given the situation? I was like, yeah, do it. That's what I would like to do. And then she also mentioned again that this could still end in some intervention of cesarean, because they said they can't do like any forceps intervention because of the size of the baby. If I decide to birth the baby, it means I have to birth the baby without those type of intervention, or it may end up in surgery. If you're getting a cesarean done, you are not supposed to like eat heavy meal. You're supposed to take clear liquids, or liquids basically. So because of this, I didn't even eat my food again. I couldn't eat. Because in my mind I was like, so that it doesn't be that when it ends in that situation, if that becomes the situation, and then they will have the fact that, oh, I ate, becoming a problem. So I was like, no problem. I kept the food. I couldn't eat. I just drank protein shake and just kept on drinking water. So yeah, that was it. One thing from my experience about getting induced is it really just changes the dynamics of things. Intensity of contraction does not equal how dilated you are, if you get what I mean. Like, because you're having contraction maybe every 4 minutes or every 5 minutes, it doesn't mean you're moving up with your dilation. Sometimes you're just getting contraction and nothing is happening, right? And that's like when you let things flow on their own. But in my case, when the drug came on, I mean the pitocin, when it came on, things were going this way, so everything just went this way to that way, like with a speed. Everything changed. There was no time for you to prepare yourself or to walk up with it. it just started coming back to back. Even though it seems I was dilating, but I wasn't dilating as fast as I was getting the contraction. In fact, I was beginning to lose my mind at some point. I was like, you know, what's going on? It was coming too strongly. And mind you, it's not like they were giving the dosage of the Pitocin was pretty little. They always start little, but still it was just coming and coming. I already told my midwife, of course, that I want to get my epidural. So when all those things were happening, I asked her and she was like, oh, you have to book for the epidural because there's only one anesthesiologist on that floor, like on the labor and delivery floor, attending to everybody that is in need. So you have to book. I was like, okay, so somebody should just go book it now because things are getting out of hand, right? I was told the person is going to be here in like 10 minutes. So I was like, fine. And within that within the space of that 10 minutes, I'd gone from being 3 to 4 centimeters dilated to 5 to 6 centimeters dilated. Eventually the lady came in, you know, the anesthesiologist, and I was like, oh great, finally we can get this done. So she came in and I was prepped. Like you saw in the vlog, you could see where I was sitting down on the bed. So that was when the whole thing was being put on. The worst thing that happened is that after I had to I had to swallow the whole contractions I was having. Like I literally had to swallow the pain, swallow the discomfort it was causing me, just to stay still for her to get this thing done. She made 3 good attempts, like poked my back 3 good times, and she couldn't get the thing to work. Like she couldn't find, I don't know, maybe a good line where it would enter and disperse very well to my body. I sat there for about 23 minutes, guys. So it wasn't even, and contractions were coming every 2 to 3 minutes within that sitting. And then she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh god. I was like, what did you say again? I was like, no way. She said, oh no, she couldn't, but she's going to go get her colleague to come and, you know, try. So she went out, came in a few minutes later. I was like, okay, her colleague will be with us in another 10 minutes. Mind you, all this while I was having these crazy contractions with me. I was just like, okay, let's just do our best. At least in the next 10 minutes somebody will be here and give you the epidural. Okay, so 10 minutes became 20 and 20 became 30 and nobody had shown up. Nobody. At that point, I was already asking my midwife, what is going on? Where is this person? Eventually, I think maybe like 33 minutes after the other lady left, the man now came around, and thankfully just one trial and he got the thing right. So from then it took another 25 minutes or 30 minutes ish before it kicked in, like to the extent that it could, you know, block the pain that I was feeling, and then I was able to get some rest. In between those rests, my midwives, they put a peanut ball, it's like some sort of breath ball, but they put it in between my thighs so it could help the baby's movement, because once the epidural goes in, you can't move around, you have to stay in a place. So I would turn on the side, maybe stay 30 minutes with it, and then turn on the other side and do the same. I just kept on turning and turning to help things, you know, move along. From the vlog that I posted, you guys could see the point where I said I was like 8 centimeters dilated. Thankfully, in fact, at that point I was like, oh okay, it's looking more like we're going to have this child today, because I was already thinking it would spill over to the next day. At that point, something strange now happened. They said there was a late acceleration. That was what they called it. So basically what that means is, between my contractions, my baby's heart rate kind of slows down, which is not good. It kept on happening, and at that point I was on the epidural and the Pitocin. So after each contraction comes, the heart rate is just not picking up as it should. So my midwife started saying, it's looking like we have to get this cesarean section done. And in my head I was like, I thought I was over this cesarean, is it coming up again? In fact, I started talking to my child that was in my tummy. I was like, please, I have labored for this long, can you just, you know, help me finish up what we started? We both started this together, you know, let's finish it up. So she called the OB that was on duty, you know, let the person know, and the lady now suggested that they take off the oxytocin. They should remove it and just leave me on epidural and then observe how things go from there. At this point I was like going from 1 to 2 minutes apart between my contraction. They had to take off the oxy. So once they took off the oxy, my body now had to, you know, work it out on its own. So I went from that 1 to 2 minutes apart to like 5 minutes apart. The contraction intervals dropped drastically, and of course we had to start waiting for it to, you know, pick up again, you know, for things to just start happening again. So I was on that 8 centimeter for long. Then the next thing, they checked again, of course, and they were like, oh, you're 9.5 centimeters dilated. And I'm like, where is the 0.5? They were like, you know, we have to start prepping, because it means I would hit 10 centimeters soon and it would be time to push. It didn't take a while again, and then I was 10 centimeters dilated. Before we started, they did like a mock pushing thing, just a practice pushing for me, showed me what to do. In fact, I was even laughing, you know. When the baby was now way low towards my pelvic bone, the epidural was no longer working. It stopped working for some reason. Normally when they give you epidural, there's like a button you would have with you where you can increase the dosage or reduce it from yourself. And when this baby descended that low, I couldn't get it to just reduce the pain. Just around my waistline, I felt like it was on fire. I think that's the best way to describe it. It hurt like hell. He couldn't even allow me focus when the pushing started, because the pain, once I tried to put that pressure, the pain was just too much. So it was like the whole rest that I got from not feeling the pain or thinking, oh, it's just going to be pressure, unfortunately the whole thing didn't work again at that point. So I kept on asking my midwife, is there nothing that can be done? Can they put ice on my waist? Like, it's on fire. I need something to be done. It was like, unfortunately, you know, I just have to put myself mentally into a better space and just work with it, that there's nothing they can really do again at that point. The baby was somewhere on, I think they said, my sacrum or so. The head is there, and that's what is putting those pressure on my waist. You guys, I was just not myself. So we started, and before we started, you know, the actual pushing, after I hit 10 centimeters, I told myself, you know, let's just do the max 1 hour and the baby is here. Put in your best and push. You guys, I started pushing and pushing and pushing, and I didn't even have energy because I didn't eat. I didn't eat, and of course you can imagine I'm already exhausted at that point, but I started pushing anyways. You know, they will check when the contraction is there, they will tell you to push because you're on epidural, so you may not really feel it's coming. But because of that pain, I was feeling it was 1 hour and I was still pushing, and the baby wasn't coming out, and the baby's heart rate was dropping again. I was not screaming when I was pushing, I was just putting the pressure, as they said, you know, put the pressure, push. And I was doing that. At a point they were telling me, oh wow, your baby's got so much hair, look at all that hair. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, excuse me, I do not care about that information right now. And my 1 hour became 1 hour 30 minutes, guys, and I was still pushing. Eventually at 1 hour 40 minutes, like on the dot, my baby came out. And that was when I screamed and let out all the emotions. In fact, I cried because I've held those emotions in for so long. I was so expectant of that moment, and it just overwhelmed me. It felt really, really, really good holding my child at that point. I know that thing they used to say, oh, once you birth your child, you know, you're going to forget about all the pains, or the pains will go away. When I was pregnant and people would tell me that, I used to be like, it's not true, it will not happen. It actually did happen, yes. Not like you forget the pain. I don't think anybody can forget those pain, no. But the pain actually goes away. So because the baby that was putting pressure has come out, obviously those areas you're feeling the pain, you're no longer feeling them. At that point, it's just the joy of that moment you want to savor, and that was how I felt. I was just happy. I was really happy. As a first-time mom and having my child in a country where things don't exactly work completely how it works in my home country as regards to maternity and delivery and labor, it felt really good that I had great people in my corner. I had amazing midwives. They were the best, they were the sweetest, kindest set of people. You know, they made this whole thing feel a whole lot less like it should, because they were nice, they were understanding, and their words were like the type of words we want to hear at each point. So it really helped. They served as both my midwife and my doula. I had my husband, who was like he was a soldier, because I couldn't even believe that he could stand through those whole moments. He was quite encouraging. He said good things that I wanted to hear. You know, he knew when to speak and what to speak, and all those things helped kind of make the moment better for me. Obviously, when it comes to labor and delivery, I'm not saying anything that anybody says is going to take away whatever you're feeling, but it just gives a better feeling. So I felt better and I did it. So now me is a mother, and yeah, from there we just moved to the mother and child section, where we stayed for 24 hours because that's the standard. You have to stay for that time, so they check and be sure that the mother is not having maybe any form of internal bleeding or just having any other complication, and also that the child is good. You know, they check all those jaundice and this and that and do some sort of blood tests and all that. So yeah, we moved there, they did all that, and everybody was good. We are then discharged. So it was time to go home. And yeah, that is how this lady became somebody's mommy. Again, I will just say that I'm grateful for this experience, because it's been such an eye-opener. Like, it's been such an eye-opener. What I experienced within this past 9 months, 10 months, 9 months, it was really something. It's an experience I will take with me for life. So I'm grateful that I went. I'm grateful that I did what I had to do. We all did what we had to do. Everybody was part of the team, and the baby responded positively, and yeah, here we are. So yeah, that's what happened. That's pretty much the whole story in summary. And yes, we've come to the end of this video. If you did watch to this point, please remember to give this video a thumbs up, a very big one. Give it a like, leave me a comment down below, subscribe to my channel if you have not at this point, and yeah, I would see you guys in my next one. Bye.